All right, in section 2.5, we're talking about the measures of the center of data. So the center of data, we have three ways to describe that: the mean, the median, and mode. And remember, we can also call the median Q2, or the second quartile. So this is also called Q2. Okay, the mean, which you're probably more familiar with saying the average, that means the exact same thing. You can use these interchangeably. So what you do is you add up all the values that you have and divide by the number of values that you added. So the mean is the summation of all your values divided by the number of values that you had. Okay, and remember, one of the requirements for a sample mean to be a good estimate of the population mean is for the sample to be random. Okay, whatever sample, however you get the sample, whatever technique you use, like we talked about, I believe in 1.2, simple random, random, systematic, stratified, clustered, something like that. Make sure it's a random technique. Otherwise, you're going to have bias within your sample, which if you have bias in your sample and you're using that to represent your population, your sample won't be a good representation for your population because there's bias within your sample. Okay, so let's look at finding the mean. All right, we're going to go to 2 decimal places. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all our values here, add them all up, and then divide by the total number of values that we have. Okay, so this is going to be 5.40 plus 1.10 plus 0.42 plus 0.73 plus 0.48 plus 1.10, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. Okay, so when I add all these up, this comes out to be 9.23 divided by 6, which gives me 1.538, which I'm going to round to 2 decimals, so this would be 1.54. Okay, now I haven't put a symbol here just yet. Let me go back to this right here. If any number comes from the population, and we're talking about the mean, that would be parameter mu. It's a Greek letter. How you pronounce it is mu. If your average or mean comes from a sample, then that's going to be x bar. Okay, now for this one, it says sample data. So since this average right here, the 1.54, came from a sample, this is going to be x bar. If it had come from a population, it would have been the Greek letter mu. Say that you have a bunch of data and some of them repeat a bunch. So they're not all different or they're not all unique. Then there's a trick that speeds up the process with finding the mean instead of adding up all those numbers if you have a bunch of repeats. Kind of like this right here. Notice if this is my data, the 1 repeats 3 times, the 2 repeats 2 times, 3 doesn't repeat, and then the 4 repeats 5 times. Now you could add all those numbers up and then divide by 11, because I have 11 numbers here, and get 2.7. Or if you notice that this right here, 1 plus 1 plus 1 is the same thing as 3 times 1, or a 2 plus 2 is the same thing as 2 times 2, or a 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 is the exact same thing as a 5 times 4, then you can use this right here. Multiply the data value times how many times it repeats, add to the next data value, add to the next data value, add to the next data value, however many times it repeats, and then divide by 11. Notice you get the exact same thing. Okay? So only if it repeats, this little trick is going to work, and it gives you the exact same number. And it helps on it helps on not having, so you don't have to worry so much about having error or missed one number. Because if you miss one number in here, say you missed this 4 right here, then that's going to change this number. So this helps on reducing the error if you have repeats and you're trying to find the mean. Okay, the median is the middle value in a data set. Remember when we were finding the quartiles, we said, hey, the data has got to be in order. Remember, median is the second quartile, or Q2, so the data must be in order. Now it depends on if you have an odd number of values or an even number of values. If it's an odd number of values, the median is the middle number, just one number in the middle. If it's an even number, then we're going to find the mean or the average of the two middle numbers, which we had already done in 2.4. Okay. Now in 2.4 we had 40 students and we were trying to find the median, which was Q2. So we said, okay, we're going to go halfway, so 20, and then one more, 21. Another way you could have done that is to use a median locator. Okay, so this right here, the n plus 1 divided by 2, is going to tell you where the median is, but not what it is. Notice right here it says location of the median. Okay, so this n right here is how many data values you have. So if we had 40 students, then n would be 40. Okay, now if when you use this locator, it comes out to just a number without any decimals, well, you go to the 49th number within that order data set. If it does come out to a decimal, then you need to find, you got to go round up and round down. So round up to 51, round down to 50, and then you're going to find the average of the two values within those two spots. Okay, so find the median. Number 1, is the data in order? Nope, this data is not in order, so the first thing that we need to do is put it in order. So 22, 22, 23, 24, 26, and 27. Okay, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 even number, so I'm going to have two numbers in the middle, which would be the 23 and the 24, and I'm going to find the average of those two. So add them, divide by 2, or 23.4. It should be a 5, not a 4. Now if we wanted to use that locator, n plus 1 over 2, well, my n is 6. So 6 plus 1 over 2, 7 over 2, or halfway, or sorry, half of 7, that's going to give you 3.5. So I need to round up and down because I have a decimal here. So the third and the fourth number, this is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So I need this number here and this number here. We'll find the average of them, like we did here, to again get 23.5. Now with a small data set like this, I wouldn't use a locator. I would only use that with a very large data set, because with a small data set, you can kind of see right off the bat where are the two middle numbers. Okay, find the median. Number 1, is the data in order? Nope. So we got to put it in order first. Now it's in order, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I have an odd number, so there's just going to be one number in the middle. That would be 6. Okay, so my median is 2, or sorry, 6. So M is 6. And you could have also written that back here as well. For your median, median is 23.5. Okay, so that's your answer right there. Now if you wanted to use that locator, we said we had 7 numbers here. So N is 7. So n plus 1 over 2, 7 plus 1 over 2, 8 over 2, or 4. So I need the fourth number. Notice how I didn't have a decimal here, so I'm just going to find one number. So first, second, third, fourth. There it is right there. Again, I wouldn't use this for a small data set. I would use the locator only for a larger data set. More for fun. Okay, is the data in order? Nope, so we'll go ahead and put that in order. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So an even number of data set or data values. So I'll find two numbers in the middle, which will be these two right here, which you could also use the locator to show you how you would use it. We said n was 6. 6 plus 1 over 2. 7 over 2. Half of 7 would be 3.5. So I need the fourth and the third number. First, second, third, and fourth number. I'm going to take those two numbers and find the average, which just means add them up, divide by 2. And this is going to give me, we'll go to 2 decimal places. We get 1.83 over 2, which is 0.915. So our final answer would be 0.92 for our median. This problem, I'll go ahead and tell you there are 40 different values right there. I would use the median locator because don't worry about the mean. We're just going to find the median. Okay. So you could, to find out that there were 40 numbers, you could go ahead and just count them since it doesn't tell you. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. So n is 40. So since it's an even number, I know I'm going to find two numbers in the middle. So n plus 1 over 2, 40 plus 1 over 2, 41 over 2, so 20.5. So I need the 21st and the 20th number. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to count to the 20th and 21st number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20th, and 24th. Okay. So there's my 20th and 21st number right there. So I'm going to take those two numbers and I'm going to average them. 24 plus 24 divided by 2. Since it's the same number, and we're basically finding halfway between these two numbers, it's just itself. So the median for this data set is 24. And I forgot to mention, the first thing you should have checked is make sure it's in order, which it already is. So this is our final answer right here. If it wasn't in order, the very first thing you would need to do is to put it in order and then go through these steps right here. Okay, mode. Mode is the most commonly occurring data value. Okay. Now it could be just one mode. We'll just call that the mode. That'd be just one number that occurs with the greatest frequency. Bimodal, so two data values that occur with the same greatest frequency. Those two words right there are going to be important when we get into an example. Multimodal, more than two occur with the same greatest frequency. And if all the numbers are different from each other or none of them repeat, I say no repeat, no mode. So if we look at the mode for this one occurs once, this one occurs twice, once, once, once. Okay, so this is going to be just one mode. The mode is 1.10. Now I'll show you an example of a bimodal. You may be tempted to call this bimodal because this occurs twice, but this is only one number that occurs twice, not two numbers that occur with the same greatest frequency.